Good afternoon, everyone. Lovely to see all of you in attendance today. My name is Megha Gupta. I'm the founder of Prep with Megha platform, which is basically dealing with GMAT, GRE preparations and also studies abroad consulting. So without further ado, let me just quickly share my presentation and let's dive deep into the discussion. Okay. So today's webinar is basically focused on the career options that you guys have after graduation in commerce. Before I begin the discussion, I would very quickly like you all to come to the chat box and tell me what is your stream and in which year you are. So that I also come to know that what kind of crowd I'm dealing with, and in case I have any specific information that I want to deal with that particular segment, I'll be happy to do that. Yes, can you very quickly type in what your name and the year and your course? Okay, okay. Second year, final year, okay. Okay. I see BCom students mostly. Okay. Anybody from any other stream? Okay, good. And all of you are from SRCC or anybody from any other college also? Second year, third year, okay. Good, good. 90% is SRCC, okay. I've always had very a special place for students from SRCC because back at the days when I used to teach at North Campus Center, lot of my students used to come from SRCC and I used to absolutely love those students. Very dedicated and intelligent students. I used to have so much fun teaching them. Okay, so I see mostly from the responses that second year and third year students, and most of the students are from BCom. So far, nobody has written eco honors or something. In case you are, I'll just assume that there is a little bit of diversity also. But I think I'm getting a just that largely the crowd is second and third year BCom honors students. Okay, great. So now you guys are at a juncture in your life where you might be feeling that, okay, now what after BCom? What should I be pursuing? Should I be pursuing MCom? Should I be going for MBA? Should I be studying in India? Should I be studying abroad? Or should I take a gap year? Should I do a job? Should I do an internship? Should I do GMAT? Should I do CAT? So many questions you guys have in your mind right now, right? Any particular thing that is nagging at you guys these days? Anything which you are, struggling with regarding your career and your future ahead? Drop me a text in the chat box. Or anything you guys are contemplating these days? Okay, okay, good. Someone's pursuing CA, that's great. And CA and GMAT is a very great combination. CA and law is also a very good combination, even though I don't deal with law. Okay, good, good. Anybody else? Okay. Then is the right time to take GMAT? Is it a good combination with CFA? Very good question. I'll address that today. CAT and GMAT. Planning ACCA and GMAT. Very good. Pursuing CA. Okay. With CA students, I usually have one thing that they feel that they're very good in maths and they feel, okay, quote unquote, feel that they're not very good at verbal. But I'm sure once you start studying with me, you will feel that verbal is easier than maths actually. Okay, good. Okay. So guys, now little bit about what we do. Okay. So Prep with Megha, which is my company, is a premier GMAT and GRE coaching platform. I primarily teach GMAT personally, although I do have experience in teaching for GRE and SAT as well. However, GMAT is my love. So GMAT and GRE is what we deal with right now, and we will be starting with SATs in near future. And I have overcome this April. I'm going to have 11 years of experience. 2nd April to be precise. That's the first day I took my class back 11 years ago. So over the course of these 11 years, I have mentored over 5,000 students across various continents, from USA, from Australia, from Asia, of course, from Europe, all over the place. I have students who have approached me for GMAT from all these countries, and my students, of course, have gone all over the world. Okay, and over this span of 11 years, I've tried my level best. It is my honest endeavor that I deliver the best to every student. And the track record speaks for itself. The GMAT highest total is 780 out of 800, which is excellent, and a verbal score of 48. Okay, and my students have gone to ISP Hyderabad, Oxford, Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, and the likes. Okay, what I basically do, and this is my guiding statement, which this is something I've put up in my office as well, that our mission statement at Prep with Megha is that we want to guide students in a correct, ethical, correct means that whatever guidance we are giving you, that will be factually correct and complete. We work in an ethical way. That means if we will not take your fees only because we want your fees, we want your money or something, by God's grace, I am blessed enough. So I only work for my passion, and whatever, we commit to a student, we make sure that we deliver that and over and above it. Structured and simplified manner. You will see when you will be associated with us that when I teach, I have a classwork, I have a homework. The homework is compulsory, then you come to the next class. You have revisions, you have doubt sessions, everything will work in a systematic way. Okay? And simplified manner. Simplified manner means that there's a lot of noise in the GMAT community, there's a lot of noise in the admission abroad space. So, to cut all of that noise, just to tell you the things which are relevant, because I understand that GMAT and your application is not the only thing on your agenda. You have college, you have internships, you have n number of things. You also have some personal life, right? So we try to teach you, we try to guide you in a correct, ethical, structured, and simplified manner so that you can achieve your aim in life. You want to go to Oxford, you want to do your GMAT, you want to do anything, whatever we can help you with, we are very happy to do that. Okay. Now, what are we going to learn today in the next 45 to 60 minutes? We are going to see what are the different career options that are open for you guys in India and abroad. Okay, we are going to see the top colleges and the programs. Some of the information you might have on a very cursory level. We will dive deep into it. Some of the information might be brand new to you. So I hope after this webinar today, you will go back with some more information. We will also talk about GMAT, GRE and how they are different from CAT. We will also see the myths surrounding the CAT and the preparation. And I'll try to give you some tips how to prepare along with college studies. This is time permitting, okay? So the first top 3 and 4 are definitely my agenda. Fifth, if I get time and if you guys are interested, okay? All right. Now let's see what are the career options that you have after graduation. Now this is the point from where if you wish you can start making notes. Otherwise we will be sharing the recording and the PPT with you guys after the webinar. So first thing of course is that you can do your masters in a relevant field. So you can do your MCOM or you can do your masters in economics. Okay. Now usually this MCOM and masters option is for students who want to go into professorship in future. That let's say I've done my BCom, then I do my MCom, then let's say I'm doing my PhD and I want to work as a professor. Very good field if you want to go to get into academics and teaching. So you can just keep pursuing your masters and then maybe pursue a doctoral at a later stage. However, these days you know that the more professional degrees, more specialized knowledge are in demand. So the first option that comes to you after CA, of course, okay, is MBA. Okay. Now you can pursue your MBA Masters in Business Administration in India and abroad. Okay. In abroad, you also have another very, very good option, which is Deferred MBA, which you guys can start applying for right away. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, so I hope that will be useful information. If you want to pursue MBA in India, most of the places they don't ask for work experience compulsorily. If you have work experience and then you are pursuing your MBA, let's say from ISB or IIMS, that's completely fine. In fact, it will add a star only to your profile. But mostly in India, it is not a compulsion. But when you want to pursue MBA abroad, most of the places, in 99% places, you will require 2 years of work experience. Now, not everybody wants to put 2 years of work experience and then pursue a degree. So over the past 7, 8 years, master's degrees in education abroad has become very popular. So if you go to schools in Europe, in Canada, US also, you will see that now you have masters in management, you have masters in marketing, they're offering masters in finance, marketing in data science. In fact, they are giving masters in information systems. There's also marketing sustainability, entrepreneurship and social innovation, lot of courses which are now open in universities pan countries. Okay. Today, the universe has expanded so much. There are so many courses, so many specialization, you name it and you can have it. But before I tell you what are the top schools, I just want to stress a little bit that why should you guys only aim for top schools? Okay. Number one, since I'm dealing with an SRCC crowd, I am assuming that you guys are good at academics and you guys are go-getters. Okay. That is just my personal experience working with you guys. Okay. Now, when at this point, guys, wherever you are studying, whatever course you've done, whatever college also for that matter you come from, let's say you feel that throughout my life I've been a very average student. Okay, how can I go to Harvard today? This teacher is coming and saying, make Harvard your aim. I've never topped in my class also. Now she thinks that I can make it to Harvard. So, guys, please take care of your mics. Okay. All right. But this is the point where you can change your life. Throughout your life, you might have been an average student, but today, if you work hard and today, if you crack it, if you go to Harvard or let's say if you go to ISP Hyderabad, nobody is going to ask you, okay, where you did your bachelor's degree, right? Because that brand itself is complete. If you say, I'm an ISP Hyderabad grad, okay, very good. The person you are speaking to knows now your caliber. Now, this person is least interested what your bachelor's degree is. So this is the place where you can actually change your life. This is also the place where you can change your stream. Okay, let's say you are doing your BCom and you say feel that along with commerce, let's say I want to add some technology aspect also to my education. You can do so now at master's level. Okay. Second is that you can accelerate your career. If you go to a very good school, definitely you'll have a massive support in terms of your placements also, especially if you're going to go to ISP Hyderabad. You're going to have top of the top salaries. Let's say if you go to a second run college, okay, and you're getting, let's say, 8, 10, 11 lakhs per annum salary. You are now going, alternatively, your classmate has gone to ISB Hyderabad. He's getting 28 lakhs as salary. Now think 12 lakhs and 28 lakhs. The starting gap is only double. This 12 lakh guy is going to take 5, 7 years of hard work to reach to 28. This guy started the race at 28 only. In this guy in 5, 7 years is going to reach 1 crore. Okay. So when you go to the top school, the placements you get, the jobs you get, let's say even at a later point you want to be an entrepreneur, you have a startup. Even if you have a startup and you go to an investor and you say, let's say that I'm a Wharton graduate, it just tells a whole lot of deal about you that if you're a Wharton graduate, you must have been hardworking. Otherwise, you would not have gotten the scores to get to that school. If you're a Wharton graduate, you would have a vast network of peers and alumni, which you can now use for your startup and a lot of extra perks. Okay. So that is why I go only and only to the top schools. Then the classmates that you're going to get, the learning that you're going to get from your peers is also going to be massive. See, let's say today from India, let's say some 50 students may make it to Wharton. We can safely say that if you are going to Wharton, that student is going to be very academically brilliant. He's going to be a go-getter in life, very focused. He would have had a very good profile, very good internships, etc. The entire class will be made up of those kind of students from different parts of the world. So when you will be sitting in a class of Wharton, the guy sitting next to you is also excellent. Now you will have to do team projects with those people. They will also push you to do better. You will also learn from them. They'll share their experience that I went to Australia to do my internship. That will open your mind also. So when you sit with creme a la creme, your mindset also expands. You also start thinking like them, and you also start taking your life a little at a higher level, right? Vis-a-vis, let's say you go to an average college, there the student sitting next to you is also okay, okay. And after your classes, this guy is not thinking, okay, what internship I'm going to apply for. This student might be thinking that, okay, what momo stall I'm going to go right now at. Right? Those are not the kind of things we want in our life. You guys are in the prime of your youth. Okay, utilize this time. You have the most energy and time right now. Okay, this I can tell you from personal experience. Also, the top schools have the top and the best faculty. Those faculty also have decades of experience in those industries. In fact, when you go to schools like that, when the faculty starts teaching, they barely touch the book. They don't touch the book. They say, okay, these chapters you go and you study at home. And then the discussion just goes into case studies, current affairs. Oh, I was working at this company, then so and so thing happened. You will see that most of the classes eventually turn out to be case studies and real life incidents. So that prepares you for the real life corporate job a lot better than, let's say, somebody at an average college. Alumni network. Whenever you go to a big school, network, network, network. Okay? Network doesn't mean just go party all the time. However, just be visible, be known, talk to people, connect with people. Okay? Go to meetings, participate in events. Okay. ISP Hyderabad, one of my students was telling me that the alumni network is so active that sometimes those groups have subgroups also on WhatsApp. And let's say the group is of ISP, Hyderabad graduates in Delhi or in Bombay. And sometimes these guys call each other for mates also. Okay. But jokes apart, the point is that you have such a huge network that, let's say, now if you are doing a startup and you want to reach out to somebody, let's say, who can get a loan for you, you will have so many people at such great level. Okay, you will not be talking to the manager of the bank. You'll be talking now directly to the vice president of the bank. That the vice president of the bank is my alumni, and he'll be more than happy to help you. So that community building in such kind of schools is immense, and all of this becomes branding for life. This is the value of that tuition fee. That is the value of your hard work which you're going to put in. That for life you will have that brand on yourself. I give an example very often in my class that, let's say, there are two t-shirts. Okay, both of the same color, same quality, same design, same everything. Absolutely same. One is a plain shirt, plain t-shirt. Another one has Adidas written on it. Okay, and now if I put the same price tag, let's say 2000 rupees on both. If you have 2000 rupees, will you buy a t-shirt with no brand, even though the quality is same? Or you'll be like, if I am spending 2000 rupees, might as well take the one which is branded. Ask yourself that. So the guy sitting next to you might be just as smart and hardworking when you go in the job market. But the person who will have that branding on their head, this is the truth of life. That is the guy who's going to get the opportunity. So put that branding on yourself. It will serve you tons of good. Okay. So that is why, class, it's very crucial to understand that at this point today, if I'm preparing for my exam, and let's say my exam, I'm not able to score that much, but if I feel that if I put 6 months more, I can put it to another level, do it. If you feel that there's an internship which will matter in your application, do it. Work as hard as possible, because right now you can work hard. It will be very difficult for you to work hard on studies when you will be 30, 32. And trust me, because I'm a GMAT tutor and most of my work is still on private, I get corporate students every day. Students who are in the 30, 32, and now let's say they are at a mid-level in corporate. Now they want to excel and now they are preparing for GMAT and then they'll go for executive MBAs. Okay, so have this branding on yourself and have the branding only and only of the top schools. Okay. Now, first, let me talk about the top program in India and then I'll dive into studies abroad. The top MBA program in India is ISB Hyderabad. You all must have heard of IIMs, right? IIMs take admissions solely through CAT, but ISB takes admission through GRE, GMAT, and CAT. Okay. I just want to emphasize on one thing that you might have heard from your seniors or the alumni that there's a ISB YLP program. I don't know how many of you have heard it from your seniors, or let's say if you have elder brothers, sisters, or something, that there was a point where ISB was offering a deferred MBA, Young Leaders Program, or early entry option. Please know, class, that that is now scrapped. Now there is no YLP. Okay. So now there are two programs. One is the MBA with 2+ work experience, which was always there. Now the program that they have replaced YLP with is postgraduate program in management for young leaders. So earlier, the options open to you college guys was that if you are in your final or pre-final year, that is second or third year, you can apply to ISB via YLP program. Now you can't do that, but now if you're a fresh graduate or you are, let's say, in your final year, 0 to 24 months of experience, you can directly apply for this. So now this program is there, which is there for pre-final, final year students and also students who are done with the graduation, but still have less than 2 years of work experience. Now this is the program which is in effect. The YLP or early entry is scrapped. In YLP, the student used to apply, used to get the seat, but he had to wait for 2 years. Now that is done. You apply, you are studying right now, you start for preparing for GMAT, you start applying to ISB, get selected, you go next year. Now you don't have to wait for 2 years anymore. And because now you don't have to wait for 2 years, the popularity of this program of ISB has grown by leaps and bounds. Because that waiting period of 2 years was not liked by all people. People were like that in this time I will be done with my MBA. Might as well start with my 20L job rather than having a 10L job for 2 years. Right? So this is the program which is now there. It is of 20 months and it is at the Hyderabad campus. ISP has two campuses in India. I don't know if you're aware of that. They have a campus in Hyderabad, which is their original campus. They also have a campus in Mohali. This program for young leaders, which is what you guys will be eligible for, is going to be in Hyderabad only. All right. Just know, class, that the global rankings of ISB MBA, ISB programs is higher than IIM Ahmedabad also. So if you are talking about MBA in India, ISB is the best, and then you have your IIMs. Okay. So as I was talking, ISB PGPYL is a full-time program equivalent to an MBA, and it is a residential program. Residential means compulsorily you have to stay on campus, you have to stay on hostel. Designed for high potential aspirants with up to 2 years of experience seeking an accelerated management career. This is the definition of PGPYL which these ISP people have put across. Okay. All right. I see some hand raises. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. I'll take all the questions once I'm done talking. Okay. Eligibility criteria. You guys are eligible, bachelor's degree or equivalent in any discipline. If you're in a pre-final year, you can apply. By the time, they will, this thing will be done, you would have graduated, you can just show your graduation certificate there. Test score. Valid GMAT or GRE score or even CAT score you can use. But out of these three, which one should you prepare for? And what are the pros and cons? I'll discuss that after a few PPTs. I'll circle back to it. Don't worry, but you should know that valid GMAT, GRE or CAT score needs to be there. Okay. Work experience, no more than 0 to 24 months of work experience. Okay. In this work experience also, there are some, conditions that they feel that if you've done unpaid internship, then it will be considered part-time job, not a full-time job, and there are a lot of technicalities also. But overall, 0 to 24 months of work experience, not more than 2. If you have more than 2, you can still do MBA from ISB, but then you will apply to your ISB MBA program. You will not apply the one for young leaders. Okay. So you can pursue your MBA from ISB whenever you want. Only the category will change. Okay. I hope everything is clear so far. So far, if you have any questions, please let me know in the chat box. I've opened up the chat box. Okay. How should our CV be in order to crack top schools? Very good question. I'll come back to that at the end. What about FMS? FMS, again, FMS is taking GMAT also now, but mostly for foreign nationals. FMS is still exclusively taking CAT. For MBA in India, for ISP is the present. Why there is so much hype about IIMs? Yes, Srishti, very, very good question. There is so much hype about IIMs and there is so much hype about ISB because the seats are limited. Not everybody can go to ISB, right? But we are very, very intelligent large pool. So somebody has to go to some other college as well, right? Okay. So I'm just telling you in terms of ranking. In terms of ranking, ISB is better than IIMs. But because ISB would have few hundred seats, but we are a very intelligent population and we are thousands of intelligent people. Okay, so that's why the IIMs and FMS and all the other colleges also come into picture. Okay, to accommodate all the good students. Okay. Now, this was the best program in India. More MBA options are there, you know already. They take exclusively the CAT. I want to talk about the programs which did take the GMAT. Also, apart from ISP, there are many schools in India which take the GMAT. Your SP Gen takes GMAT. Ford School of Management takes GMAT, IMI, all these schools. Okay, so they take GMAT or CAT. Okay. Also note that the GMAT score is valid for 5 years. Unlike a CAT score, which is valid only till the next CAT paper. So that's why CAT is valid only for 1 year. But GMAT score is valid for 5 years. And most top schools will still take a score which is no less than 3 years old. So if you get a good score of GMAT today, you can sleep, you can, rest with the idea that, okay, my GMAT is done now. I only need to work on my profile and my internships, etc. I don't need to take the GMAT again, at least till the next 3 years. Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about the options which are available to you in study abroad space. Now, when you're talking about studies abroad and after commerce, there are primarily two things that you should look at. One is MBA and another is masters. So in foreign universities, there is a little difference between these two. MIM means Masters in Management. Okay. The difference between MBA and MIM is primarily that of work experience. Abroad, all MBA programs take minimum 2 years of work experience. Okay. But if somebody does not want to work for 2 years, needs to be done with their education now for whatever purposes, then that student can go for MIM. Okay. So because now in MBA, the work experience is minimum 2 years, but the average goes till 3.5 or 4 years. The batch profile, the classmates profile, the professor's way of teaching is all very different. Because then they talk about the case studies from the office, from their teams, teamwork, etc. MIM, they expect or they know that, okay, many of the students will be fresh graduates. They don't have that kind of work experience right now. So the pedagogy and the expectation on the peers is also like that. Okay. Cost. MBA is costlier than MIM. Okay. So MIM also becomes a little affordable option. Okay. And next is, of course, career goals. When you are doing an MBA, because the class profile is already of students who have worked in corporate space for 3-4 years, most of the students, when interviewed, their career aspiration is that they want a senior position in their organization. So they still want to do a job only. Most of the students, though, not saying all, but most in MBA still want to do a job, but they want to accelerate their growth. They want promotion, they want pay raise. Okay. MIM, because it is of students who are still fresh graduates. Those students are still open to a lot of opportunities. The larger percentage wants to maybe do a startup, some wants to do PhD, somebody wants to do again a corporate job. Okay, so in MIM, the career goals are still diverse, but in MBA, mostly it is set on in the organizational space. So this is the difference between MBA and MIM. If you don't want to wait for work experience at your point right now, MIM is the space to go. And when I MIM, I mean Masters in Management and all the other masters also. Masters in Strategic Leadership, Masters in Sustainability, Masters in Marketing, Masters in HR, all these versus MBA. Okay. So I hope this point is clear. Now, when we are talking about studies abroad, I just want to break it into 2, 3 countries, okay, so that I can give you a better picture. So, of course, when we are talking about study abroad space, the most important player, the most sought after country is the USA. In USA, we talk about the N7 schools. I don't know how many of you follow admission consultants or this space on LinkedIn. If you follow admission consultants on LinkedIn, you will come across this term which they use often, the M7 schools. What is M7? M7 is usually the Magnificent Seven or Magic Seven. These are the 7 top schools in US and largely the top 7 schools in the world. Okay, these 7 schools are Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, Massachusetts, Columbia, Chicago Booth, and Northwestern Kellogg. Okay, you would have also heard the term Ivy Leagues, right? Ivy League school. Ivy is also similar, something similar. Okay, but Ivy is more technically related to the sports teams. Okay, so from there, historically, the term is coming about. But in the consulting space, in the application space, N7 is these top 7 schools in the US. Okay, now usually these schools have one option only, which is MBA. Okay, some of them might have masters also, but it will be a little different. But most of these schools are well known for their MBA or executive MBA. Now, executive MBA, of course, for you guys will be like a long shot. We will talk about that when you come to me after 4, 5 years. Okay, but at this point, what can you do about this? If these schools offer only an MBA and you feel that you don't have pockets, why are we discussing about them? We are discussing about them, class, because they have something very, very good. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, so let me enlighten you today. Something called deferred MBA options, which I feel for students like you, it is a must try. Okay, you must try for the stars, and these are the stars. Deferred MBA means that these schools also offer options to students like you that you guys can also apply today. You get a seat today, but you go to Harvard campus 2 years later, and within these 2 years, you do your job. That is the meaning of deferred MBA, that my admission is confirmed, but I'll go after 2 years within, and in this 2 years, I'm going to do my workouts. Look at this list. In fact, I would urge that all of you take a screenshot of it and please study about this today after today's webinar. Okay, these are the things which students are not aware about. Okay, they feel like 2 years work ex is required. I don't want to wait for 2 years. Okay, scrap it. But do you know that Harvard has a 2+2 program? That 2 years work ex and after that you do your 2 years MBA. Just look at the list. Harvard, Wharton, Columbia, Yale, Chicago Booth, UVA, Darden, Stanford, MIT, Kellogg, Berkeley, all the top schools in US have a deferred MBA option for which all of you are eligible. All of you. Okay. The acceptance rate is 8%. For a regular MBA, it is 12%. That's that. But this whole difference, strictness, which is there for deferred MBA, please know that the pool applying to deferred MBA is also much limited than an MBA pool. So if you really put a lot of weight into profile building, into your GMAT scores, etc., and you apply with this with good consulting, good guidance, people who are pros at it, who send students to these schools every year, you have a very good shot of making it to it. Okay. So very, very good. If somebody can apply to these schools, if you have the metal, you want to go for it, do it. There's nothing. See, just imagine yourself saying after 4 years that I'm a Yale graduate. Just think how it feels. I'm a Columbia graduate, right? It means something. It means something globally, right? I hope you guys have taken a screenshot. Otherwise, as I said, we will be sending the PPT across to the interested students. Now, that was the thing about US. As I said, I'm very, very passionate about those deferred MBA options. Please explore them in more detail. Get in touch with us. We will guide you correctly how to go about it. The second option now I want to talk about is Europe. Okay, UK, Spain, France, etc. So, of course, when we talk about Europe, London Business School is the most important school that comes into our mind. Okay, all these schools have MBAs. Okay, so MBA, executive MBA is there, you know. But what more is London Business School providing? Now, London Business School has a master's in finance. Okay, they have masters in management. They have masters in analytics. They have masters in global MIA also, in which 1 year you will be in London and 1 year you will be in Shanghai. So all these schools have a lot of different programs, which might be better suited according to your future aspirations also. So don't be very close-minded and think that okay, there's MBA only, there's CA only. No, there's a lot of things in the world. And when you go to prestigious institutions like that, and when you have a peer circle like that, and when you have an alumni network like that, you gain something much, much more for life. Your own personality shines, right? So London Business School definitely tops the list. NCR. NCR, I don't know how many of you have heard of NCR. Can you just, let me know in the chat box or by show of hands? Okay. Not many of you have heard of NCR. NCR is comparable or even better than London Business School. NCR has two campuses, one in France and one in Singapore. Okay. And NCR has MBA and MIM only, two things. Okay. And it has executive MBA. I don't want to get into executive MBA with you folks. Okay. So NCR, please look into it. Very, very good option. France and Singapore, two campuses. HEC Paris. Look at the ranking of HEC Paris. Again, we are very close-minded in our space. When we talk about studies abroad, after four, many of the students can't even name the fifth university. But the world is so big. Expand your knowledge. See, once you have knowledge, only then will you be able to make an informed choice. Then now, what do I want to do in future? Somebody who doesn't even know, let's say before this webinar, let's say you didn't even know that there's a deferred MBA in Harvard and you guys are eligible to apply for it. Would you have even considered Harvard MBA? Our minds would have been fixated on CAT or something, or just the limited knowledge that we have, right? So talk to people. I just want to say I'm digressing a bit. Guys, please be active on LinkedIn now. Be active on LinkedIn, connect with alumni, connect with the best people in this domain. And you will see that daily there's so much of information that is coming which is directly relevant to you all. I would say that if you want to be successful in your life, please from now till the next 2-3 years, please limit your Instagram. Do it, but limit it. But be more active on LinkedIn. Okay? Make your profile, make yourself visible. Coming back, HEC Paris, just see, it is the number 2 best business school in Europe. Okay. Number 2 in masters in management. Number 2 in international finance. Look at the fields they have, strategic management, and they also have data science and AI. Just notice this. Let me just highlight this in red. Number 3 in the world for data science and AI for business. I don't think I need to tell you more about AI and the importance of AI these days. I don't know how many of you do it, but I'm sure many of you use ChatGPT for your assignments also for college. Okay. If it is available, do it. But of course, original work is always reported. But just see, now you have a master's in AI and data science also. That too from HEC Paris. So these kind of options and subjects are also available. Okay. IESC, which is in Spain. Okay. It has campuses in Munich, it has campuses in Barcelona, Madrid. Okay. Ranked number 1 in MBA in Europe. Many of you might be wondering, ma'am, if HEC is number 2, who is number 1? Contrary to a popular thinking that it is London Business School, it is actually IESC, which is number 1 in Europe for MBA. And number 3 in the world. Just think. Number 3 in the world for MBA in 2025, which is current by Financial Times, which gives out one of the most authentic rankings in the world every year. And I'm sure 90% students here would not have even heard of ICSC. Okay, so no, first no, and then you will know that there is so much, and you can actually have a ball deciding your career. Okay. So IESC primarily Spain-based has 2-3 campuses. This has actually just 2 programs. They have three actually. They have masters in research also. So they have MIM, masters in, and they have another MRM, and they have MBA. Okay. So these are some of the top options that you have in Europe. Another country I am very passionate about is Singapore. I don't know how many of you have considered Singapore as a career option ever. Singapore, very cosmopolitan, more affordable than Europe and US, very accessible to India. Today, let's say some emergency happens in India or with you. It will take almost quarter a day or a full day to reach for somebody to reach to you in US or for you to reach back to India. Singapore is just 3.5 hours away, right? NUS, which is National University of Singapore, one of the best in the world. And the kind of options they have master, of course, as I said, all of them have MBA. NUS has MBA, NUS has Masters in Finance. They have Masters in Green Finance, which is sustainability. They have social innovation. They have HR. They have marketing. They have supply chain management. So these are for example, supply chain. You guys all know that how much e-commerce is exploding. Supply chain is one of the best options to go for career-wise. One of my students, he was in Merchant Navy. He was my students 4 years back. Merchant Navy student, he was like, Ma'am, I'm done going to ships and all. I want to do an MBA. I want a stable job. He went to Canada to Shule to study supply chain management. Today, he has a very, very cushy job in Canada. One of these days, I'm planning to host a podcast also with him. Okay. So supply chain management, that option you might have very limited in US and Europe, but you do have it in Singapore. Okay. Another very, very good university, SMU, Singapore Management University. Again, I have students in this university also. Excellent range of courses. Okay. Just no class that here they might call it MSc. Okay. The weightage and importance is the same, that it is Masters in Finance or MSc in Finance. It is just a nomenclature, but they call it by the name of MSc. So when you go to their website and let's say you find MBA and you feel like that, ma'am was talking about these many courses also, where are they? So go in their MSc options, and in MSc you will find all these things. Okay. So in Singapore, three best universities are National University of Singapore, which is NUS, SMU, and Nanyang. Okay. I highly, highly recommend you all to at least start researching on them, see their eligibility. All of these universities you can apply to exclusively through GMAT. Okay, so CAT is very, very, exclusive to India only. But when you want to plan or study for a broader base, with a broader vision, GMAT is actually the exam that you should prepare for. Now, please note class that the admission deadlines usually fall between July end and September end for the first intake. Usually these universities have round 1, round 2, round 3 and round 4. The earlier you apply, the better it is, because when you get applied in round 1 and you get multiple acceptances, you are in the choosing phase. By round 4, most of the universities have filled up their seats. Okay, so these guys they still do take students, but they take most number of candidates in the first one. And the deadline for that falls between July end to September end. So let's say today also you start, you have couple of months, and even if you start today or tomorrow, day after, you can easily prepare for your GMAT and do your applications also properly and be ready till round 1. Okay. So that is why the webinar today is very well timed. That even if you start today, you're very much in time, but you don't have time to waste any. Okay. Candidates must submit a valid GMAT or GRE score along with admission essays, SOP, LORs. SOP is a statement of purpose. They usually have some admission essays also which you have to answer. That why Stanford, or what do you want to do with this program, etc. And the relevant documents while applying. So let's say when you are applying in round 1, and let's say you're submitting your application in August or September, when you're applying, that time you should have your GMAT score in your hand. Okay. The IELTS, TOEFL, all these scores can follow later. The universities are not very rigid on it. In fact, if you can tell them, if you can show that the instruction of medium of instruction in your college was English, many times you don't have to take IELTS, TOEFL also. Okay. But while applying the GMAT, GRE score must be there. Okay. Now, there are some myths which are related to applying abroad. Okay, when students sit together and they say, okay, I want to apply here. Some students say, अरे पर ये तो ऐसे होता है वैसे होता है. So let me just talk a bit about that. Some students feel that only the science students get through because the competition is so tough. That the students from engineering backgrounds or science background, these are the ones who get preference. I want to tell you guys that when you are applying abroad, it's not like you are applying in India. They look at your GMAT score, they look at your profile, they look at your story, they look at n number of things. They are also from their perspective looking at to have diversity in their class. Diversity in terms of nationalities. They're also looking at diversity in terms of gender. They're also looking at diversity in the form of that we need these many students from science, these many from commerce, we want these many from humanities also. Okay. So don't think that since you're not a science student, you have any less chances than let's say an IITian or somebody. No, nothing like that. All of you have an equal chance. Okay. Second, it is very expensive to study abroad. Yes, I will say it is expensive. It is expensive to prepare. It is expensive guidance and it is expensive tuition fees also. But if you apply in time, if your profile is solid, if your score is excellent, you can actually apply for financial aid also. Okay. So there are a lot of funding options available when you're applying to the top schools. Okay, again, that's another difference between the best schools and an okay school. Okay school might give you okay scholarship. But if you apply to top schools, they have need-based scholarships, they have a need blind scholarship also. That you might be very loaded and you might be able to afford the fees. But if you still say that, look, I am such a solid candidate, I would still like a scholarship, they'll give you scholarship. You know that. But your profile should be good, your story should be compelling. How will you make your profile good and your story compelling? By having proper guides and counselors to tell you how to write your interesting story. Okay? That is where the coaches and the guides come in. That we can tell you what kind of scholarships are available. What are the deadlines for those scholarships? You can come to us and you can say that, ma'am, I want to apply to this, but I can apply only with scholarship because I can't afford this much fee. Fine. Then work with us and work hard with us. Then forget your sleep and your eating, but you work and you work with correct guidance. Okay. So there are a lot of funding options. Some funding options are in terms of direct scholarships. Some funding options are in forms of on-campus jobs. Okay, some are in terms of being a research assistant to a professor. So there are a lot of options, especially in the US. Okay, in the US, most of the students do some work also along with the professors or as a part-time job on campus. With using that money, they can easily take care of the living expense. Okay. Most of the students and masters, they attach themselves with some professor. Professor keeps giving them some work in terms of in exchange of some stipend. Okay. Now, this is the kind of information which counselors can tell you. Also, alumni can tell you. So this is just, I'm telling you in your benefit that please be connected with the alumni of those institutes through LinkedIn. Okay, message them, talk to them, send them a proper formal requesting message that I just want to get a little bit more idea about this. And I saw that, you are connected with this. It will be great. It will be very useful for me if you can shed some light about this thing. Be specific, be humble, be requesting, and have regard for the other person's time also. So be very specific. Message people, reach out to people. See, the alumni of those universities have no vested personal interest in you, right? They don't care whether you get in or don't get in. So they will give you the most honest advice. Okay. So please utilize them. Utilize social network to your advantage rather than your disadvantage. Okay. Third myth, that balancing GMAT application process and college studies is impossible. Should I study for my college papers, which are going to start, or should I do GMAT? In GMAT also I have 2-3 teachers. I have to also prepare for my application and everything. Let me tell you, class, students who have achieved big, those are also the students like you. They also had college. They also had to sleep. They also loved Instagram. They also had all these commitments. They still made it through. Once you are determined here, that I have to do it, then you will do it. I have two kids, okay, and I still work till 4 a.m. in the morning if I will lecture the next day, which there's just a specific way I want to give and prepare for. Okay, you guys will not know, but you guys will know later. What is it? What kind of energy we mothers need to raise two small children? One is 1.5 and one is 2 months old. And with that also, I can wake up till 4 a.m. in the night. Okay. One of my staff members is also associated here. You can ask her how busy I am. Okay. But I still do it. Okay. Why do I do it? Because it is my passion, because I want to deliver the best. So if I can do it with these kind of commitments, I have a business, I have everything. You guys are still have a lot of time. Okay. Trust me. So please do it. Everybody does it. Okay. You are nothing new. And it can easily be balanced. See, I'll tell you one more thing. How can you balance GMAT and college studies together? The trick lies in knowing what is important and relevant. That is the trick. If you say that I want to prepare for GMAT, but I want to prepare on my own. Let me tell you very frankly, everything is there on the internet for free. All the content is there. All the solutions are there. Everything is there. But out of those 1,000 questions, who is going to tell you that out of these 1,000, these 200 questions are important? Who will tell you? Do you have the bandwidth to do all 1,000 questions? No. Okay. So if you know that, okay, only by doing these 200 questions, I can equivalently prepared as much as I would have done for 1,000 questions. Now here you have balance, because now with this 4 hours of work, you are cracking your GMAT rather than putting 40 hours of work. So 4 hours you take out, 4 hours you do your college studies. Everything is good. World is great. Okay. So please know this is the importance of correct guidance, that they will cut the noise for you. That is why class coaching and individualized counseling is important. Coaching is important. Why individualize? I individualize again, I'll tell you in a bit. Why coaching is important? Because there is intense competition. Now, intense competition is there if you want to study abroad. Intense competition is there even if you want to study in India. Okay, so if you feel that I want to go for something where I don't have competition, sorry, then it is not worth pursuing. Okay, so the competition is there. The numbers of GMAT takers is increasing every year in India and globally also. Okay, so there is competition. There is so much information, so many courses. So many courses, I think I said in a flow also. I don't know how many of you were able to take note. There's an MSc in entrepreneurship. There's MSc in real estate also at this thing, SMU. Did you know? Singapore Management University. It is an MSc in real estate. Just think. Schulich MBA Canada, that gives MSc in supply chain management. Excellent placements. Right? So there's so much information, so many countries, so many rules related with visa, work permit, so many things. So it is very overwhelming for students to do all of this R&D on their own. So that is why if you can go to a counselor who can tell you that, okay, you are at this stage, you have these things, you do this thing. That person has already done the R&D on your behalf. And he's telling you how you can make the rest of it. Third, there is way too much noise, and I can say this particularly for GMAT preparation. You go to LinkedIn, 100 posts of GMAT you will see in a day. I tell my students, and then sometimes it so happens the student says, "Ma'am, so and so thing, whatever." And I said, "Okay, where did you read it?" And he said, "Ma'am, somebody put up a post on LinkedIn. I saw on that." And I tell my students that it's great that you are, reading and you're being up to date on LinkedIn. However, if you will spend 5 hours only on that noise, just reading, when will you actually pick up the pen and paper and solve? Unless you pick up your pen and paper and solve, everything is just, talk in the air. So there is so much noise, there's so much of advice. Some senior of yours will come and say something and you'll be like, "Arey, wo bhaiya ne to ye bol diya mere ko." Their bhaiya is more important than your teachers. right? So you need coaching or you need counselors to cut that noise for you. That okay, let's say if you're preparing for GMAT verbal, this is the topic, this is the way to do it. You do this and you do these 10 questions of verbal. Rather than you thinking that okay, there's a question type assumption. Now you're going on YouTube, you are seeing 10 videos of assumption, you are going to MBA GMAT club and you are seeing 1,000 questions of assumption and preparing for assumption on your own. You can prepare on your own in that way, but just imagine the amount of time and energy that got spent, whereas you could have done that work in a more streamlined and quick way and maybe get a better result. Okay. So you need somebody to cut that noise for you, tell you what is relevant and what is not. Okay. Another important point, class, that when you are applying to these schools, GMAT is a very, very big star. However, there are many more stars that you need to put on your profile. Somebody asked me also in chat box, how can we, make a profile better, etc. So your overall story, your overall package should be good. Okay. How to make your story compelling, how to make your story interesting, how to make your story you, and not something which is made by Chat GPT, mind you, because those college admission officers are no fools. They also have Chat GPT. Okay. So it is more important today than ever that the application does not look like something generated from AI. It looks something which is personal. Okay. Now, the last point, which is why I want to say individualized counseling, because every person has different challenges. Every person has a different story. Every person, let's say, might have a different budget. There was a student of mine who said once that, ma'am, I want to apply to this particular university in Canada. I said, why you such an intelligent kid? You can apply to this. And I started, giving him some gap. He said, ma'am, actually, I'll tell you, my master lives in that place. My mom will send me only to that place. So that is why this is the only university I'm going to apply. I need only this much score. Can you help me with this? Within 1 month, he got that score and he went. Okay, so he might be like that. I can go some other place, but my mom is not going to send me. Okay, so those kind of things also happen. So there could be individual challenges of finance. There could be individual challenges of, let's say, that I cannot wait for work experience right now. Because let's say I have some house responsibilities or something which I need to take care of individually. Okay. So those kind of things are there. So that's why every student is different. So please make sure that what is relevant for you, what is your story, you are taking help to make your story interesting. Okay. And giving the best version of you to the universities to consider. Okay. Now, with all of this, as I was saying, that GMAT is a very, very big and important star on your application. Somebody was asking me in the chat box also that GMAT, GRE, CAT, which is important. Do you know that even though GMAT and GRE both are accepted now by most of the B schools in the world, still 7 in 10 are taking GMAT to get into B schools. You know why? Because GMAT structure is more designed and it is more specific to business schools. Because GMAT primarily tests your critical thinking, your ability to break down data into parts, your ability to read graph, your ability to read paragraphs and some small text and make sense of it. Versus GRE, wherein in GRE still 80% of English or verbal is vocabulary. So business schools, even though they are becoming more open to GRE, but the truth of the matter is that out of GMAT and GRE, GMAT is more, better suited to go to business schools, and that's why universities somewhere do have a bias for GMAT. Okay. Now GMAT, I just want to give you a quick snapshot of the structure. GMAT is 2 hours and 15 minutes long exam. Okay. It has 3 sections. Quantitative reasoning, which is your maths. Verbal reasoning, which loosely we say English, okay, but it is verbal reasoning, in which you have paragraphs and passages and you have to answer the questions. And the third is data insights. In data insights section, you have pie graph, charts, tables, and you have to make sense of that pictorial data. Okay. So quants, 21 questions, 45 minutes. Verbal reasoning, 23 questions, 45 minutes. DI 20 questions, 45 minutes. All these numbers, as I said, we'll share the PPT with you. But basically, you have 3 sections of 45 minutes. You also have one optional 10 minutes break, which you can take after any session. So one break of 10 minutes you will be allowed. So, and you can also select the order of the paper. Okay, let's say you feel that I want to go for verbal reasoning first, then you do verbal reasoning, then I want to do DI, then I want to do quant. I want to do quant first, then DI, then BR, whatever you want, you can do it. And you can take your first break after the first section or the second section, wherever you want. So GMAT gives you a lot of flexibility in that term. So it's a more comfortable paper to take. Okay. Taxable score sending. The moment you apply for you are done with your GMAT, you will get your score. Okay, you can send your score to 5 business schools complimentary. So there is no extra fees for sending your official GMAT score to those universities. Okay. After your score, you can decide that whether I want to send my score to, let's say now to Harvard or not. Let's say now you take your paper and let's say you feel that my score is not up to the mark. You have the flexibility that you do that I don't want to send my score right. Okay, so your score won't be compulsorily sent. So you can just sit and take your exam with the relaxed mind. Okay. Also, this is another difference between GMAT and CAT. GMAT is computer adaptive in real time, meaning that if you get the first question correct, then second will be slightly higher in difficulty, then third will be more difficult and more difficult and more difficult. And the more difficult questions will fetch you a more score also, a greater score. So it is in our interest to raise the standard of our paper. This does not happen in CAT. In CAT, you are already have this question set. Okay, you can read your entire question set also, and then you can decide what I want to attempt and what I don't want to attempt. Another major difference structurally in GMAT and CAT is this, that in CAT, it is not compulsory to solve the whole paper. In fact, most of the CAT tutors will tell you not to attempt the whole paper also, because there are some questions which are just trap or black holes, okay, which will just waste your time and they are very risky. If you just solve the safe zone, you are sitting at 98 percentile in CAT, okay? But in GMAT, it is compulsory to attempt all questions of all the 3 sections. Even if you have to take random guess and close the section, do it. But GMAT heavily penalizes for an incomplete section. So you have to attempt all the 64 questions that are going to come on the test. Okay. So these are some structural differences between CAT and GMAT. GMAT is a more relaxed paper, I feel, and it is more logical also. Another thing, class, that you should know that earlier there was an edition of GMAT which was GMAT 10th edition. Okay, in which the scores used to be set like this: that 730 score of the student, 650 score of the student. I don't know how many of you have heard this theme and how many of you have heard it from your seniors also. That like I said at the beginning of the webinar today, 780. Okay, this was the old score. Now you have something called GMAT Focus Edition. GMAT now prefers to call it just GMAT, but the GMAT Focus Edition is what started last year in January. Okay. Now the scoring has changed a little bit. They have dissected it further also. And now you don't have 780, 790, 770. Now you have 695, 715, and so on and so forth. This is the table which is available on mba.com, which is the official website of GMSC. Okay. And again, as I said, that I'll be sending the PPT so you can have us as a ready rec now. What is the importance of this table for us? If you're applying to the top schools, okay, this is the bracket of the score that you are aiming for. That means that in the new format, somewhere around 635 plus should be your target. So if you will compare to previous 630 was okay. It was nothing great. But now 635 means that you are 83 percentile, okay, which is the 680 of the previous one. So just know that now it is slightly, reduced in terms of its scoring. So make sure that now you are thinking in terms of the new scoring. So just as a baseline, 635 or more is what you should be getting in your GMAT now. Okay. When you will come to us for your GMAT preparation, know that you will be taught according to the latest structure only. All the guidance, all the material, everything is designed according to the focus edition. How can we help you now? The first thing that we can help you with is your GMAT preparation. In GMAT preparation, there are three ways you can go about. Okay. One is the group batches. Another is the self-paced course. Group batches, I think, is pretty self-explanatory, but we do focus on having smaller batches so that we can give attention to those students. Self-paced courses, which are our recordings, okay, they will go live in another 2 to 3 days now, and in which we have given the recordings of our lecture. We'll be providing you the study material also. We'll be providing you adaptive mock papers, etc. Everything just same as a live class. Only difference between group and self-paced is that group will be a live class and self-paced is the recording. This is the only difference. Content-wise, deliverables-wise, everything is the same. Okay. You can get in touch with our office and we will send you more details about it. Third, which is the most premium and the most, the thing which for which I'm most sought after, which is private one-to-one tuitions. Okay. Private one-to-one is the best way to prepare simply because now the tutor is preparing according to your speed, according to what you want. In a group class or in a recording, there's a set pattern that I'm going to teach. So let's say if you feel that I'm already done with this and I want to do something more advanced, you may not have that flexibility in the group right now because in group there's a certain PPT I want to cover. But in private one-on-one, you can tell me, ma'am, I think this I'm comfortable with. All of this you give me homework. Let's do something new. So the kind of feel and the kind of tutoring that you get in private one-on-one, it is just not comparable with group or self-paced. Okay, but again, since the fees of all the three is different, whichever suits you, whichever suits your goals, please go for that. The other thing apart from the GMAT coaching that we help with is the profile evaluation and admission counseling. This is something I really, really want to stress because class we work with one of the best in the country. We work with people like Sameer Kamath, Piyush Ranjan, Dr. Huber. We just go on LinkedIn and you will see the profile of these people. We work with the best in the country to guide you. We have specific counselors for ISP. We have specific counselors for M7. We have specific people who have license with the European schools so that you get the best information that is out there. You come to us for admission counseling, be assured that you will be given the best information that is there in the market. Okay. So also for your profile evaluation, somebody has asked me in the chat box that, ma'am, what can I do to enhance my profile? Please take a session with us and we'll be very happy to help you that where are you right now? What all you have done? Where do you want to go? And now how can we bridge the gap? Okay. So for me to give you an umbrella answer right now will be a little difficult because where you are and where you want to go might be different for all the 10 days in the webinar right now. But please come to us for a one-on-one evaluation and we'll be very happy to help you and guide you in your path. Okay. So please get in touch with our office. What our students say about us, please visit my profile. You will be seeing all the testimonials. You can also visit my website. We have a lot more testimonials so you can see how the students have prepared. My students have gone to Oxford University, IIM Calcutta's, ISP. I have a lot of students. Okay. Shoe Lake, MBA, Europe, London Business School, Harvard, you name it, and you have a student there. Okay. Because again, 11 years of work ex, lot of, by God's grace, a good profile I have. So finally, class, I think I was given a timeline of 1 hour. I've exceeded a bit. So I'll just wrap up at this point. Please drop your queries right now in the chat box. I'm very happy to do a Q&A if you guys have any questions right now, and we will get back to you. If you drop your query and we are not able to respond, please drop your email ID also along, and we'll be happy to send you the answer. You can also take a screenshot and note this number. You can ping on this number to schedule a one-on-one call with me. You can also visit our website for more information, and please do follow us on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can follow our page, Spread with Megha. You can also follow me. Okay, I will go by the name of Megha Gupta only. So you can go, you've seen me also. So I think you'll be able to recognize me in the profile. Okay. So class, I hope that today's webinar was useful. I hope something new you have learned today, some new information you came to know about today, and I hope the past 1 hour was useful to you. Okay. I'm opening now the floors to Q&A, and that's all from my side. I'm happy to take any questions that come here. And also, class, in the chat box, feel free to drop in your information if you want our office to contact you for any other queries. Also, class, please let me know in the chat box how you like today's webinar. We'll be very happy to know your feedback. I hope you guys had fun listening to me. Okay, so a couple of questions coming in. With this, I think I've answered. Can you also please rank ISPs in India and also XLRIs? So ISP, IIMs, XLRI. Okay, that's how I would rank them. Okay. Please write in the chat box only. I don't want to open up the mic right now. So please type in your questions. A lot of questions coming in. I'm happy to take them. So somebody is saying, so let's say I've done my UG from Europe affiliate college and got a so-and-so GPA, I can still apply. Like, okay, marks. If I have 2 to 4 years to apply, still thinking of joining this batch, can the marks aspect still be tackled? If I have outstanding work profile in other areas are great. Yes, you can still apply. Okay, you can still apply to those universities, but it also depends upon how compensatory your work profile is. If let's say you in your mind think that my work profile is very good, but when you compare yourself to the pool of candidates, it's not up to the mark, then you're saying that the marks are also average. So you might need something to fuel your application further. So in that case, I would really suggest that you come for counseling. Okay, whether you want to apply after 4 years also, but have the guidance. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to know that it was useful for you. Thank you, class. Thank you. GMAT score validity is 5 years, Anusha. But because sometimes for the top colleges, 5 years become a very, outdated score. So top schools take up to 3 years. Okay. But technically it is valid for 5 years. So I hope, Anusha, that point is clear. Okay. Any other questions, class? Feel free to write in the chat box anything else you want me to answer right now. Otherwise, please drop in your information if you want our office to get in touch. Otherwise, as I said, I have also dropped the number on the screen. Please reach out to us and we'll be happy to schedule your call. Also, for more details on the upcoming GMAT batches and the recorded courses and the private one-on-ones. Okay. So whatever we can help you with, we'll be happy to do that. But please don't just call on this number. Please drop a ping on WhatsApp and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Okay. You can also drop me an email on mg.examprep@gmail.com. You'll find my email ID on my LinkedIn page also. Okay. And do follow my LinkedIn page. I usually keep on posting something about admissions or GMAT every other day. Okay. All right, class. I'm very happy to know that the webinar was useful. That's all from my side, class. I'm stopping the screen share. Thank you so much for attending. And I hope to see you all in my classes. Okay. Bye, class. Have a great day.